Well, let's talk about GM. Tonight, General Motors remains in crisis mode, and they have now hired the so-called master of disaster to be on their team.
Ken Feinberg is an attorney who will handle the defective car case from the victim's side. But how he will do so is already coming under scrutiny. 7 investigator Jim Kurtzner has been looking deeper into Feinberg's history and joins us now live tonight with more on the story. Jim?
Jeff and Joanne, Ken Feinberg declined to be interviewed for this story because it's early in the General Motors crisis. He is the go-to guy. He was handpicked by President Obama to handle the BP oil spill. On the other hand, he also has his own critics. He started big with 9/11 victims in New York, then mass shooting cases at Virginia Tech, Colorado, and Connecticut, the BP oil spill, and Boston's marathon bombing.
I wish and pray that we didn't need this fund.
Deciding how much victims should be paid, everyone wants a quick fix.
We do not know today how much money will be distributed. Challenge number one.
That's job one here in the Motor City, a plan for GM to compensate at least 13 victims killed and dozens others injured in GM cars with defective ignition switches going back a decade. More than 2.5 million of the cars have now been recalled. Members of Congress and influential public interest groups are watching Feinberg and GM.
It's definitely a cover-up. I would say that if the company knowingly put into the stream of commerce a car they knew was defective and would kill people, I think that rises to possibly criminal activity.
That will not be part of Ken Feinberg's job. What will be is which victims are entitled to get paid and how much is a life worth. And key in this, GM's 2009 bankruptcy.
GM definitely used the bankruptcy to avoid liability for all of its defects.
But serious questions were raised about Feinberg's deal with BP. It turned out he was being paid $850,000 a month. The Center for Justice and Democracy, based in the New York Law School, did not just talk about it, but took action.
The contract between BP and Feinberg was originally secret. There was no transparency there, and our organization fought to open that process up.
GM's chair, Mary Barra, promised transparency during congressional hearings. Watchdog groups of the company and Feinberg make the case, don't let history repeat with this crisis.
I will come back again and again to face the music, hear the criticism, listen to the concerns.
With GM, this has to be a very transparent process. There can't be this kind of secrecy that happened with the BP Trust Fund.
Ken Feinberg started here just a week and a half ago. Today, the company says they're still working out his role moving forward in this crisis. Jeff, Joanne?
Jim, talk about the timetable here. What would that timetable be for GM handling the victims in this case, do we think?
Once Feinberg gets up and running, as we've seen in all of these other cases, he could have all the compensation cases handled within a year. But that expert from the Center of Justice and the critic, if you will, of Feinberg says the victims after bankruptcy, the GM bankruptcy in 2009, they stand a better chance for better compensation with several of the class action suits that have been filed against GM.
Interesting. All right, Jim, thanks so much for the update.
Yeah, Jim, thank you. We have more